Hi there everyone, Adam Voigt and Amy Green here to have another conversation with you around teacher wellbeing. Amy has done an enormous body of research, published a white paper, developed a whole new approach to teacher wellbeing. And I think the thing that has resonated most with people, Amy, with your work around this has undoubtedly been this true intention around making teacher wellbeing in schools a collective responsibility rather than an individual responsibility. Is that something you meant, or is that something you reckon people have picked up along the way?
I think it's probably a bit of a response to how we see wellbeing happening in schools, if anything. So we have in schools this notion that teacher wellbeing really is important and we need to prioritise it. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that at all. But often what we hear teachers say, or what we think or even see, is people almost wanting to be rescued in a sense, like someone needs to take care of my wellbeing. My wellbeing isn't okay. I need some things taken away from me. And I understand that because the workload is immense, and sometimes that's just how you feel. But what we have to start to understand is that wellbeing isn't the responsibility of one person. You can't outsource it to a wellbeing coordinator, as much as we would like to think you kind of could do that. That would be nice and easy. But what it really drills down to is knowing that everyone has a role to play, and when everyone's doing their part, that's when we have that collective responsibility coming into schools.
And that's what you see as being the teacher wellbeing partnership that you've developed, is about what are the mechanisms that people will need in order for teacher wellbeing to become kind of insourced rather than outsourced. Is that where you've got yourself to on this project?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that's really important to notice first is that teacher wellbeing is all about understanding self, and that's why we have the 5 domains in the teacher wellbeing program, which are all about self. And when you really start to do the work on that, you can start to look at how that impacts and affects other people too, and that's when you can start to use that to come together as a whole school or whole staff.
So those 5 domains of self, there's a physical self there, purposeful self, mindful self, learning self, and then your connected self.
Well done.
The bit that I still have the most to learn on is possibly this notion of connected self. How do you work on connected self? What does that look like?
There are a few things that underpin connected self, and first of all, connection really starts with being connected to who you are. So that's knowing and understanding your thoughts, behaviours and actions, which really links to your mindful self as well. Yeah, okay. But how you're connecting in with that. And then what are the external connections you have in terms of people in your everyday life? So your work colleagues, acquaintances, the person in the supermarket plays a role, and the people in your household. So we have connections all the time, but it's what are we doing with the people we surround ourselves with? You know, who are the people you spend most of your time with? How are those connections really meaningful to you and purposeful? Sometimes I think we continue to connect with the same people just because we always have. Yeah. And we never really stop and go, oh, you know, how is that impacting my well-being and what does that look like? So that it's not as simple as just going, I'm connecting to myself or I have great friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually what are the behaviours that are cultivating and preserving the relationships that nourish you. Is that what we're looking at there?
Yeah, absolutely. And also back to the meaning and purpose of those relationships. And are they serving you in terms of the teacher you want to be, the person you want to be, the friend, the mother, the auntie that you want to be?
Yeah. And the adding up of those different domains of self is what comes to genuine teacher wellbeing and self-care. Is that how you see that? It's like accumulation of those key foci areas?
Yeah, so even though they're broken into 5 different areas, they really do intertwine and overlap quite a lot. You can't just have mindful self and think that your well-being is taken care of, because there are so many other elements. And I think what schools do really well is the self-care component, and I've talked and written quite a bit about that. But what this does is it shows you how self-care is woven into each of those 5 areas and how we can use that, yes, as a tool, but it's not the answer to well-being. They're very different.
Now, if I'm like an AP in school at the moment and I'm hearing us talk about this already sounds bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah.
So what are the mechanisms in a teacher wellbeing partnership that would allow that AP who's sitting here at the moment with the hairs on the back of the neck standing up going, oh my goodness, my job just got more enormous and more important. How does entering a teacher wellbeing partnership help that person?
I think it really, it won't add to your workload. If anything, it will make it easier, because what we're able to do in this 12-month partnership is give you tools and learnings each week that your whole staff will have access to. So if you do get a school partnership, everyone in your school can have access to the learning that happens each week.
So
and that,
like the email list of everyone in the school, and everyone receives resource. What's the resource look like every week that they get?
So every week you'll get a video unpacking one of the areas within those 5 components of self. Some information in there, a couple of resources, maybe a book or a video clip to watch as well, something like that. And that will allow you to be having, you know, the same conversations with staff across the school around wellbeing. You can use that in staff meetings. You could use that in a school newsletter if you have one. You could use it in team meetings. Maybe you have a group of teachers in your school already interested in wellbeing and you want to have some way to really drive that, and this can be used in that way as well.
So, and when does it start? When they sign on, or does they have to wait for the start of a year, or how does it work like that?
So we are making this really accessible and easy for every school. So whenever you choose to sign up, we'll make sure we have all your emails from your staff. As soon as you get that to us, we will be able to start pretty much that week.
Right, so it's an any time.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And then it will just be a weekly email after that from whenever you sign up.
So 52 weeks.
52 weeks of content around wellbeing, which means that it really highlights that it's not a one-day event where you can kind of tick that box and say wellbeing's done. You know, this is why we've designed it as a partnership, because it's like building a muscle. It's a whole new way of learning and thinking.
I think why even days, you know, like World Teachers Day, where we celebrate and we do a little investment in our wellbeing, hasn't really shifted the wellbeing of people because we haven't habitualised it in the way that we work.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. This is all about building habits around wellbeing, not just looking for that, you know, let's leave some chocolates on the staff room table, or let's go learn a little bit about how the brain works and our thoughts impact who we are in a one-day kind of workshop. This is really about bringing it together in terms of knowing exactly who we are as individuals, teachers, collective staff, schools, and even education as a whole.
Yeah, and knowing you, they're not just going to get a weekly video. What else is going to happen across 12 months that is going to, you know, impact and support both people who are trying to do something around wellbeing in schools, as well as people who are you know, kind of enduring or living with the impacts upon their wellbeing. What else can I get?
Absolutely. So we will not just be doing the weekly email. There'll also be some podcasts in there throughout the year, a few more white papers coming your way throughout the year too, and some live events where we will connect everyone in our wellbeing partnerships to have some Q&A sessions, some chats, learn a little bit more together, and really build that wellbeing community around how are we doing this all together.
I like that idea. I've always been firm in the belief that good teaching is 90% theft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not find a way to find out what other people are doing and see if you can steal it and make it your own?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. So if people want to sign up, Amy, and get this going in their school straight away, I'm mindful that Australian schools, and particularly right at the moment Victorian schools where I am, the impacts on teacher wellbeing in 2020 have been outrageous. You know. Yeah,
massive.
If people want to sign up, what do they do? How much do they pay? What's the logistics of getting going for your school?
Yeah, absolutely. So school partnerships are available on our website via realschools.com.au. You'll find the Academy button there in our partnership section. You'll see that. And from there, you can go and join up. It's $1,950 per school, which for that means everyone in your school can have access to our Teacher Wellbeing Partnership for 12 months.
Yeah.
And all the extra bits and pieces coming your way too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty good, I think. We'll put the link for that somewhere in this video too around here.
Watching this video, the link to sign up straight away is somewhere around here. They'll be able to get hold of that. All right. This is pretty transformative stuff. So I want to congratulate you on it, Amy. I think this is something that we certainly in tracking this year have seen as being an enormous area of need for schools, and a need that they don't need papered over anymore. Genuine, meaningful help, so that wellbeing, and I think you keep writing about this, so that wellbeing is everyone's responsibility.
Everyone's.
And when we get that going, that's when we actually make a difference in terms of the way that people are feeling mentally and the way that they're functioning in the school. Yeah, well done. Well done. It's really impressive stuff. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, cool. All right, we'll leave it there, and and look forward to supporting heaps and heaps of schools from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Cool.
Thanks.